be reading.
Sorry.
So some of the print that may appear on the screen in a little bit may be a little small, but it'll be more for my value so I can remember what I was going to pick up on. So, and Ginny, I'll just let you be the decision maker as to when we start and stop and all of that.
Let me check the driveway, and if we don't see anybody coming, we'll go ahead and start.
I always believe in honoring the effort made by those to get there on time. So
Start on time.
A good meeting is one that starts on time and ends on time or ends before. So
Agreed.
we're scheduled to go till 3, right?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
You can go till 3. Go as long as you want.
Let's see here. Do any of you know one another yet?
I'm getting to.
Nope. We need to do an icebreaker.
All right, so find one thing that you all have in common that's not readily apparent.
I was gonna say.
We're all photographers.
We all live in Southeast Georgia?
Nope.
No, okay, all right.
Everybody, Donna,
Kathleen. You're gonna get it, it's okay.
what's your name?
Catherine.
Catherine, Mark, Donna, Michaela, Michelle, hi.
And Jim.
Jim, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to leave you out, Jim.
I'm two-dimensional. It's okay.
And if you like paper pen, take notes, think of yourself. Guys, there's drinks and chips. I think we can probably get started. Let me check.
Okay, once Ginny's in the room and settled, I'm going to switch the screen here so that the two of us can tag team a bit. We are being recorded, I guess, at this moment, so we have to be careful what we might say.
Where are you from?
Pretty.
Oh,
South.
Ginny, should we start?
we should start.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to share my screen, so folks, let me know if this works. And,
Oh, thank you. See, you always have to keep me straight.
I tell you, Carol Ann really runs the show because I'm just a figurehead. Hang on. Let me let you in.
do you all see a PowerPoint screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Thanks,
great.
Carol.
So the whole purpose of today is really sort of a photo contest 101, but really emphasizing the big photo show, which is obviously the birth child of the Coastal Photographers Guild. And the big photo show is almost as old as the club itself. I think we're entering our 14th year. It's either the 13th or 14th year of having done this. And each year it's just gotten better and better. And it really is a big hit. It also, for those of us who are photographers, and no matter whatever level we may be at, it gives us an opportunity to play around, to focus on something that it's a goal that we can work toward, not necessarily to win, but at least to get something worthy of hanging on a wall that people can look at and go, oh my gosh, look at that. I didn't know that, Mark did that type of photography. Or so anyway, welcome to the big photo show for 2021. We have also been joined by Carol Ann Wages, who is the treasurer, and she's an authoress, and she's done quite well also. She takes great photographs, and she is on the board of CPG. So we'll have an opportunity for others, if they do join us, to ask some questions. We now have, you can go to the website and read all about it and get all the paperwork. So this is just a screenshot of what you would find if you did go to the big photo show, and maybe many of you have already gone on it on the website to take a look at what's involved and how to go about it. But we want to make sure that by the end of today's session, no question goes unanswered. Okay. So are you all first timers with this?
Yes.
Great. So what are you feeling about, and I want you to commit to doing it, because it's really, you'll get so much more out of it than you ever imagined. But what are you feeling about it? Just throw out some of the words among yourselves.
Overwhelmed, anxious,
Uncertain.
What else?
I'm so tired of that pictures. Excited too.
Yeah. All right. So nervousness, that's to be expected. Nobody's holding a gun to your head, though. So just view this as a choice that is a great opportunity for you. But the nervousness is to be expected. I've entered some in-person photo contests before, and even if I'm experienced, I still get nervous, and that's a good thing. Use your nervousness to your advantage, because it'll cause you to maybe look at things 2 or 3 times rather than just once and miss something that you later look at and go, oh, I wish I had. But nervousness is to be expected. A sense of excitement, this is really going to be fun. I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm game for it, especially after this past year. I'm ready to try something new and learn. Some of us have a fear of competition or being judged. What if they don't like my photo? The answer to that is, so what? Remember, you're doing photography for your own enjoyment at this level and in this club. And unless you're taking photographs for weddings where you're getting money and you better nail it, lighten up, just have fun. But the fear of competition and being judged compared to others, it's a real human reaction. So that, I suspect, could be in there too. And some of you may say, I don't like being competitive. It's really not about the competition part. It's about showing. It's about letting people into your world through your lens. And so just don't worry about the competition part. You will have fun. We demand that. So, it's a great learning opportunity. You will have an opportunity to look at a photograph and go, I wonder how she did that. How do you do? And it's a great learning opportunity to learn from others, but also to really learn from yourself. And you get to be part of a community. So we're a community. We're a sorority / fraternity of other photographers, where we're all in this together. And the whole goal behind the Coastal Photographers Guild is to just learn, have fun, support one another, and again, build that community. All right, so I think that's that list. So if you're looking at my screen, is that better? I guess it doesn't matter if you. So picking images. Now you may have images from 30 years ago, and if they're great ones, dig them out, why not? But people often wonder, well, what are the judges looking for? They're looking for something that you love. If you don't love it, probably nobody else is either. And I don't know if any of you attended the last workshop by Marty Snyderman on underwater photography. I asked him, I said, so Marty, I asked him something about, what image do you love? He says, I don't love anything that won't love me back. So, anyway, I don't know where that has to do with anything. All right, picking your images. The judges are looking for something that's interesting, compelling, and has new content, or old content, but viewed in maybe a different new way. So, if you're looking at, say, animal shots, is there a connection between the animal and the lens, which would then translates into the viewer and the animal? Is there eye contact? Is it something new? Try to make the mundane extraordinary. That's what really captures there. They should want to spend at least 3 seconds or more looking at your photograph, not just, yep, that's the Sydney Lanier Bridge. Let's see what else we've got. They look for new perspectives. The quality of the image is really important. So, make sure that it's well printed, that it's in focus, that the lighting is good, that you don't have tree limbs coming out of people's ears from the background. Really look at the quality itself. Some people, well, actually, you all have an opportunity to sell your photographs. People may look at your image and fall in love with it. Some of our members have extraordinary success in this area. I think I've only sold 1 or 2 in the past. But if it's going to be hanging on somebody's wall, or they're going to give it to somebody, they want it to look really professional, even though we're all amateurs. So make sure it's looking really good and it's the best it can be. Think about the technical quality and compositional rules. Now, our session right now is not about the rules, but there are certain rules, and I don't know if you can see my air quotes here, rules of photography, such as the rule of thirds, where you want to position the main subject in a certain location of that area, or S curves, looking for how things go, diagonals. You can look at those, and judges will often look at those, but my experience lately is judges actually look for things that sometimes violate the rules a little bit. Again, going back to that compelling new content. So don't be afraid to be experimental. We're not looking for the perfectly composed St. Simon's Island lighthouse, but consider it as you're deciding how you want to work with it. And by the way, I thought what I would do would be I'd go through a couple slides and then pause and see if you have any questions. At the end, we'll ask Ginny and Carol to weigh in as well with any thoughts they may have. But Ginny and Carol, I give you full permission to interrupt at any time if you have something you think is particularly pertinent. When I talk about the technical aspects, you'll be able to look at that information when you go on the website and look at the rules for the contest. We talk about some of the technical characteristics. So again, is it in focus? Is the lighting proper? Are there big splotches? So the one thing I would just say is every pixel is important. So it's either going to contribute to your image or detract from it. And, we can we can chop things out depending upon how comfortable we are with Photoshop or whatever digital darkroom tools we're using, Lightroom, etc. You may make a decision, I'm going to go black and white, or maybe this looks better in color. The choice is really yours. I would suggest, though, when you're sitting behind your computer, just, play around with it. See if something might look better in black and white. Some of the judges are more attracted to black and white because they feel, and by the way, I'm not saying our judges, I'm just saying judges in general. Sometimes they think it's harder to take an excellent black and white image because it really reduces the lighting and the flash of the color. It really goes more to the content and what the story is behind the image. And while I don't have it here on the screen, there is kind of a hierarchy of photography in terms of interest. So, like the first level, the base level of photography is what we might call a snapshot. You went to look at the Leaning Tower of Pisa and there's your picture of it. Well, there's that part, but then, the next level would be something a little bit more detailed. So, if I'm doing people, maybe it's, I'm not just taking a picture of people, but I'm really trying to get them to engage and connect, more of a portrait picture. And then I start looking for even more, does my individual picture tell a story? Does it make me think, as opposed to just feeling like a voyeur, looking at something, go, yep, that's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And sort of at the zenith, at the very top of the hierarchy, would be those, once in a lifetime shot where you capture a moment in time where people can relate, but they're either reminded, it touches them inside, or they're seeing something they just can't believe existed. So, just think about the level of interest of your photos as well for that compelling part, because there is a level. Anyway, going back to color in black and white, one of my suggestions, and this is just my suggestion, is try not to oversaturate your color. And by that, I mean, there in your software, there's a slider that says saturation, and it really makes the reds really red and the blues really blue. But at some point, it really looks artificial. So try to keep it looking believable, unless you really want to mess with people's minds. But if it's really artificial, sometimes for me that's distracting. Ask a trusted friend to help you select your images. As a photographer, you have a love affair with your images. You've got a special relationship. You may or may not want to let anybody else know about it, but ask somebody who you trust, and that person doesn't have to be a photographer. I use my wife a lot for this, and she'll give me feedback, and then I suppose much like in marriage, I say, yeah, well, thanks, and I'm going to use it anyway. But it's good to get different perspectives from people, because they will see things and they don't have that same experience of taking the picture, developing it, putting all the time in. So involve your friends, family, stranger on the street. I do it frequently. Pick what you love. Of all the images you've taken, what's hanging on your wall? Other than, of course, your beautiful children or your pets or things like that. So pick what you love. Your love is contagious. And here, this is the judge's thought. Would I like to see this on my wall? So if you were really hardcore competitive, if you knew who the judges were and they were professional photographers, you might want to see if they have a website. Look at the types of things that appeal to them, because that can just give you a little bit of insight. Personally, with the big photo show, I don't do that. It's like, this is what I like. This is an image I took, maybe here in the Golden Isles, that I think people have never looked at necessarily before or seen. So I'm going to look for something. So let me just pause for a moment. So far we've talked about what to expect for first timers, picking your images. Anybody have any questions thus far or comments? Or do you want to just talk amongst yourselves? And Ginny, you can actually facilitate any conversation there with the real people.
Y'all have any questions or comments or?
Do we know who the judges are?
Yes.
Is it like in the guild?
And I need to put that on the website, who they are, because that helps them too, their business. So Mike Force is one, and he's on the island here. He does weddings and portraits, and he's phenomenal.
You say Forks?
Force, like, yeah.
I love this one.
Chris Monkus
Oh, nice.
in Brunswick. He's also a fabulous photographer. And Becky Manning, who is, Jim, is she the CEO? Is she part owner of Fierce?
Yeah, it's basically her business of Fierce Strategy and something. It's a marketing group. So, you know, she has an eye for photography, and her family, her husband or partner, he's also an incredible photographer. So, you know, I think it exists a lot in their home.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Just the three?
Just the three, yes.
Are they members of the guild or?
No, and that's why we don't want watermarks on the pictures, don't sign the mat. We want the judges to go in and that's why we do a black frame and a white mat, and try to keep it all uniform, so that the judges really, all they're judging is the picture, the image itself.
Are we supposed to put something on the back? So
Yes.
Oh,
In fact, so when you sign up and you have to fill out the form, print that in duplicate, and you're going to drop one of them off and tape it to the back of your.
Can you take a picture of that?
You sure can.
Like the whole thing.
Pass it around. And so these are very simple, I think $12 frames I got at Walmart. You can obviously spend a lot more on frames, and you know, the sky's the limit, however you want to do it, but I went with just a real small, simple thing. And all three of mine placed last year, so
I feel better about my Target frames now.
there you go.
I got
There you
mine
go.
on the clearance rack at Hobby Lobby for $7.
You don't have to spend, you know, a huge amount of money on the frames, because it really is about the photograph.
And now when we turn them in, we have the wires on and stuff like that.
Yes, it does need to have a wire
Oh,
on
it
it.
does, okay.
Yes,
So we drill around the hole.
please, yeah. And I'll, you know, if somebody forgets, I'll have tools up there, but that'd be very, very helpful.
And you don't want, if you have like a business card on the back or anything like that?
What about that, Jim? Business card on the back?
Well, nobody's going to see it. So,
But if someone wants to buy the photo, maybe that would be something they could hang on to.
yeah, you know, I think they have a way of getting in touch with us through through Glen Arts, who is, you know, one of our partner, sponsor, support, or whatever they are.
Okay.
Many people. So, you know, I think we want to try to keep the space as clean as possible with the images, and there will be the little tag with your name on it and the price that you determine. And you know, we can talk in a little bit about pricing, how much, if you want to sell your photographs, how much you might want to charge for that.
So this one was in the open category because of the addition, right?
No, that is, I did not,
You
the
just
only
searched.
reason I put that in open, that is how, I didn't bump that up, that's how the picture was taken. I put that in open because nature was, I think it said no pets or whatever, and that was kind of, you know, it's a horse, somebody owned it, it's domestic.
But that was exactly as you took.
Yes, yeah, I did
That's a nice thing.
that's one of my specialties is equestrian.
Did you take the background out?
No.
That's it.
You know, I just started working at the first one. You did, where? Newcastle, or Sanctuary? I need to talk to you.
It's my favorite place in the world.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we should field trip there.
Yeah.
So what's happening right now in Ginny's den there is exactly what we want to have happen for the guild and for each of you, which is, let's learn from one another. Let's share our thoughts, our impressions. And even if you feel like, well, I'm not that experienced, that doesn't matter. You still have an eye, you still have an opinion, you still have an aesthetic sense. So, we love to, talk photography, everybody of all levels. Carolyn, do you have anything you want to add? And then I think what I might do is I might just go through all the remaining slides, because some of these we may touch upon some of these topics in a bit.
Yeah,
Caroline?
I'll wait till you finish because what I have in mind, I'm sure you already have listed, so I'll wait to the end.
Okay. So, but those are great questions. Those are exactly the types of things, we want you to have answers to when you head out the driveway. So, preparing for submission and display. Anything you prepare for it to be hung on the wall. There may be a remote chance that something you submit isn't able to be hung, but we don't anticipate that. But let's say we got a gazillion photographs, which are amazing. We do have a process whereby we will try to do it equitably and fairly. But we really want to encourage the aspiring photographers, which you may consider yourself in that category. And by the way, there are two categories this year for the first time: aspiring and experienced. So aspiring are people who are relatively new to photography. They're just learning, or you've been doing it for maybe a couple of years, but on your own, and you're and you've never entered a contest or anything like that. So the committee decided it's perhaps better to not have aspiring photographers on the same level as those who are experienced, who maybe have won multiple years and things like that. So you get your own division. And I'm going to tell you from my experience, quite often you can't tell the difference between the two. It's amazing. So I guess that's another way of saying some of us experienced photographers still produce crappy stuff from time to time. So when you prepare to really wow somebody and sell it. If you don't want to sell, that's completely your decision. But if you want to, be prepared for somebody to say, I'm going to offer you $250 and I want that one on the wall right now. And, that will all be negotiated, the sale price. And there's a split. I think it's 60-40, maybe 60% for you as the photographer, 40% for Glen Arts. The Coastal Photography Guild gets nothing other than a good warm feeling in our hearts. Again, quality matters. So the print itself should be high quality. And you have a choice. You can either print it yourself on your home computer. You can have it done locally. And there are several places I know where some people go, like the Dark Room on St. Simon's Island, or Premier Printing in Brunswick. Some people really like, I think, Walmart or Walgreens. Carol, do you print your own?
No, I actually use Walgreens. They've always been exceptional as far as printing it exactly like I want it printed, and the colors and everything are gorgeous. So, and the price is very reasonable.
Yeah.
Especially with.
Yeah.
We always have.
She told me about
Carolyn, the quality's good?
The quality is, I've always used them, and
Okay.
I've never been disappointed with any of the photos I've gotten.
Oh, and by the way, we sort of go with the understanding that we're all very cheap, or let me say thrifty.
That's good for you.
Are we speaking the same language here?
Yes.
If there was more time, you could try sending it off to one of these professional labs who, they somehow know how to make it look better than it even looks on your screen in your wildest dreams. But that takes time quite often. It is more pricey. So, but you have options for printing it. Because the photo show starts in less than a month, I think, definitely, I would say do it yourself or have it done locally. And the turnaround locally is generally pretty good. A place like the Darkroom might now be getting more involved in graduation or weddings or things like that. So, definitely check to see if they can meet your time requirements. And then once you get it printed, then there's the framing part, which will take perhaps some more time. By the way, if you print it and you are going to buy your own frame, say from Michael's or wherever it may be, I suggest looking at the frames first and knowing what size you want it printed as, and that you can get the right size mat to fit the picture you want. There'd be nothing more frustrating than to have a photograph all set and then need to have it custom framed because the dimensions just are a little off. But we can get into that a little bit more later. Oh, like right now. So framing is critical. The contest in Glen Arts does require a black frame with a white mat, and which means you can't do those canvas wrap photographs. You can do that for your home, but not for the big photo show. We want everything looking uniform, and it really does make a difference when everything is similar. Now, it does have to have that white mat, and what I mean by the mat is the cardboard, but that frames your print inside of the black frame. Now you are allowed to have an accent mat under that white mat of a different color, but the predominant feature should be the white mat. However you frame it, make sure that it's done in a way that doesn't, pull people's eyes away from your image. So, if you're looking at a really cool type of frame, and by the way, the black frame can be plastic or it can be wood or metal, as long as it's black. But don't, make sure that it complements your image and that your image doesn't get lost. And then, like with the photographs, you can do it yourself, or you may want to use local framers like Creative Frameworks, where some of you may have had the opportunity to go to that on I think is it Gloucester Street?
Yes. 13.
Yeah. Lucy gives you a discount. It's like 15, 20%. It's great. And she has got an eye. She could make, anything look good. Not that you need that, but she's really great and knows how to match white. I thought white was white. No, there are so many different shades of white, and she has the knack to be able to pick out the right white for you. And while I feel like I'm promoting her, I don't want to do that at the expense of other great framers around. And I also, sometimes I've gone over to Michael's, bought a frame, didn't like the mat, so had one cut specially. And then the next year, I just use that same frame. And if the mat fits, use that one too, and put in a different photo. So, there's ways, again, I'm talking about thrifty ways, that you can do this yourself and it won't look bad, I can tell you. Also, the people at those local places like Michael's, they're very helpful in offering you some technical assistance. But, support your local people. Small businesses is great to do. So yes, size does matter. I would not submit a print of a 5x7 into the show. It will get lost. And if you've got a big dramatic landscape and you can enlarge it so that it's like 16 by 20 or something, well, it's going to be more expensive to print something that large unless you do it yourself. It's still more expensive. Finding the right mat, the frame, it will be more expensive, but I firmly believe that the larger images will capture more of the attention. So don't sell yourself short by trying to save too much money by shrinking it too much. I would say don't go with anything. The smallest I would probably go for is 11 by 14 at this point. But if you have an 8 by 10 or an 8 by 12, something like that, and that's the right size, if you start enlarging it and it starts getting too crunchy, and go with what you like. Sometimes I've gone to galleries and it's actually been the little photographs that have engaged me more than the big ones. So again, it's hard to say.
Jim, can I say something here?
Please.
Okay, so also, since you're talking about framing, a lot of people get confused when it says it can't go over 102 linear inches. And what does that mean? So what linear inches means is if you wrap the tape measure around the complete frame, it has to be 102 or less.
I think it's 112.
112? Okay, thought it was 102, but just measure the outside of the frame and it can't be bigger than that to get in the show.
And all of this information is in the rules, and we'll get to the rules in a little bit, or at least where to go look at the rules. But this last bullet point here is, so how much is your work worth? You may be the type who's happy to just give photographs away fully framed, but you've made an investment, even if it's a hobby. You bought a camera that's X dollars. You've bought the cards. You maybe have a tripod. Maybe you needed a flash. So you've put some money in. You're not going to recoup it all on a single image, but photographs are worth more than you may think. And then what about the matting and the frame itself? It's not uncommon for a frame and a mat, to cost $75, $150 for a really big one. It doesn't have to be, but you don't want to be giving away your work unless you want to be giving it away. So what you might want to do is take a little walk over to Creative Frameworks and just walk through the gallery. There's an exhibit up now on the Sidney Lanier. I think it's still up, but go take a look and just, you can look at the photographers, but also look and see how much they charge. For the most part, you're not going to have a casual sale. Somebody's really going to have to fall in love with it. Maybe it reminds them of where somebody proposed to them, or whatever. So but it's not uncommon for photographs to be $125, $275 dollars, and your time is worth money too. So, but if you're trying to judge it, don't sell yourself too short. Follow the rules. Now, whether it's the big photo show or any other photo contest, read the rules and read them carefully, because there's so much information that's packed in there. Maybe not every question is answered, but I'd say 99% of them are. So I'd say even before you go through your your images, read the rules and then just make sure that that image might fit. Assign it to the proper category. We have two divisions, as I mentioned, aspiring and experience, so that you know which division you're in. And then we have 4 categories or topics. We have nature, landscape, people, I think, and other. So for nature, landscape, people, there is some freedom within there. Yet the predominant subject should fit into that category. And it should be, the image that you're displaying should be mostly the way it appeared when you took that shot. You can do a little bit of adjustment, and again, it's all in the rules. You can crop it, to get rid of some of that unnecessary outside area, so it zooms in more on what you want. You can change the color a little and the contrast. You can make all of those types of adjustments. Maybe there's a splotch on there that you can, just erase if you know how to do that. But don't go overboard, because that's what the other category is for. The other category is, no holds barred, whatever you want to do. You want to go wild with your creativity, go for it. That's what the other category is. Or, maybe, I'm sorry, but your Shih Tzu is not going to fit in the wildlife category, no matter how poorly behaved your dog is. So, make sure you get it into the proper category. If you have questions, feel free to ask Carol Ann, me, Jenny, send off an email. We aren't the judges, but we can, I think, guide you accordingly and reassure you. So if you have any questions about that. So, you're going to have to fill out those little slips of paper that you saw Jenny pass around. One of those goes on the back of the image that nobody will see, but it helps people hang it and have some general information. You're also going to make another copy of that sheet of all those little strips that you cut up to put behind. And those will be used to hang in front or next to your image in the gallery. So when somebody's walking by, they'll know, oh, that picture was taken by Michaela, and it's of her gorgeous little daughters, and it's in the people category, and she wants $1 million and it's worth every penny, and they'll get that information as well.
That actually reminds me of a question. One of the pictures I was considering submitting for people was an interaction my child and my husband were having. Is that like weird to have on somebody's wall? Do you know what I mean? Like if it were to sell, does that now freak me out that my child's on someone's wall? Or is that a thing?
Well, that's
That's
like
up to
completely up to
you.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one picture I'm thinking about that I took of a friend's child, and I went and asked her for permission, can I submit it in the contest? And I don't plan on selling it.
Right.
If I sell it, I'm gonna sell it to her.
Well, that's right, because I know you have to price them, and that's
You
why.
don't have to.
You don't have
Oh,
to.
you don't have to?
No, it can be not for sale.
There we go then. Okay, then I'm good, because I just didn't know. I was like, I'm gonna submit it.
I had a question about the accent color. Could you talk a little more about that?
Yeah.
On the matting.
Jenny or Carol Ann, want to take that?
A double mat typically will only show maybe a 1/4 inch inside the full mat. So that second mat, that color can be any color you want, and you want it to go with something that's going to be in your picture so that it complements your picture and brings a color out. So you need to choose that color carefully, because it could make it just go all wrong if you've got a few little red things in your picture and you want to bring them out. Use red around that with the big white mat. And I think Jim, did you pull one up?
Yeah, and it didn't work.
No.
It didn't work. So Yeah, it should probably be no more than a half inch. But and the accent, but nobody's going to be out there with their rulers. The white part really should predominate, but that accent bevel, it usually is used to help some of the colors pop that are in your image. Just it complements it nicely. So.
You said the frame could be wood, plastic, anything. If I have a frame in mind that has like ridges, it's black, but it's almost like faux wood plastic something. I don't know.
It's like a texture. or
It
design
is,
on
it's
it?
textured. Is that something I should stay away from?
One of
Black,
them-
as long as it's black, it's okay.
Okay. It's not like real wide, but it's just textured.
And some of you may have some old frames lying around. Get some black spray paint if you want to really save money. And, if you can spray it nicely, that works out fine.
And just a question came up a few days ago, could somebody use plexiglass in place of glass, and that's fine. As long as it's clear.
All right, so I'm going to move forward here because I also want to respect everybody's time. You know who you are if you're aspiring or experienced. And this is the first year we're trying this. We think we hope it will encourage people to get involved. Make sure you're a current member. If not, Carol Ann and Ginny will hunt you down and that all your paperwork is complete. When you bring your photographs, first of all, you should be a member now officially, but I'm sure if you weren't current, we could still maybe support you in getting your money in immediately. But Carol Ann she's the keeper of the lock there, so I'll let her make that decision. But make sure all your paperwork for the photo show is complete. There's a general information page that you can send in at any time with your fee. Even if you still haven't decided which 3 photographs you are going to use. And by the way, all 3 photographs could be in the same category. You don't have to do 3, but you can do up to 3. Anyway, just make sure all the paperwork is there and available. Follow the rules and I don't know if you can even read these where you are, but ask question first because this contest has sort of evolved over time and it will continue to evolve over time. So I remember one time a photographer submitted something into the other category, and that person used, it was a creative one where things like flames were introduced and halos and all that, but they were purchased online or downloaded from the web. It's important to know that all of the work that appears has to be your own. So if you want to add fire into a creative collage of something, that's fine, but you have to have taken that picture of the fire yourself. This is really not a Photoshop contest to see how immaculate and wild you can get, but there are times where you can be very creative with Photoshop, and it's a tool. So we have the technology, we can be using it. This is another photo contest that is, I think, underway now or shortly, and it's right over the border. But this just gives you an example of when you enter a photo contest, what some of the things may be that you look at. So number 1, how much does it cost to enter, and how many images can you submit? Are there requirements as to where the photographs are taken? Or what about if you've submitted them previously? And again, we have information on this in our rules. We will talk about sizing. Now, we are doing only photographs that are hard copy, not a digital photo contest. So their number 3 there does not really pertain to us, but you can see they often ask, don't add special borders or your logos or watermark. Don't put that. Now, on your photograph that you submit, you will likely want to carefully put your signature on the mat itself in the lower right-hand corner. You know, so it's there. They know who took it, but it's subtle, and that will get covered over for the judging purposes. So don't worry, you know, about are you going to be disqualified for that? You will not be, as you know, that can be covered over with tape or something. Here they talk about under number 4, what's allowed, what's not. So those types of things are okay. And well, I think you can read this. And by the way, if you have some good bird photos, consider entering this contest. It's a great one. And they have a wonderful photo conference in St. Augustine every year. This year it's going virtual again for the 2nd year, but it's right in your own backyard, and it's a great opportunity to learn. They have workshops, and it's great stuff. All right, so you submit, and then you go, and they announce the winners, and your reactions may be, well, first of all, be willing to be surprised. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, that one won. You got to be kidding. Be willing to be surprised no matter what, because, it's a human contest. And anytime people are involved, things are going to, there's always that element of surprise that can enter into it. Enjoy looking at other people's work. Make sure you pick some time to go and just meander through the exhibit. And I can't recall, because I'm a snowbird now, what the viewing hours, procedures, how that's all going to work out. Jenny can talk about that, and Carol at the end. But enjoy other people's works. You may get some great ideas, or you may have questions and you might want to ask. I may be wrong, but sometimes I think the best images don't always win. That's not to say that the winners aren't phenomenal, but sometimes you will look at one and go, oh my gosh, that was just, and it's because, the judging is subjective. Judges have things they look for, things that they like. And I've been told, I've never been in a judging situation, but I've been told that sometimes it gets into these really heated discussions about what they like, what they don't like. Well, I like it more abstract. I like to try and figure out no, I like it, when it's very realistic. No, I like it a little bit more impression. So blame it on the judges if you don't win first place. All right. Or just realize, recognize their genius when they recognize one of yours. Don't get discouraged or disappointed. You may not place, or you may, who knows? But if you don't, so what? It was that point in time. And again, if you love that photo, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. We are not offering millions of dollars in cash rewards, awards. So, no harm, no foul. But, take a look. And usually the judges will spend some time talking about images, what they liked, what they didn't like, what they might have changed. So if that is a possibility later on in the year, we'd like to hear that as well. And expand your photo community, know other people, have fun with them. Hey, you want to go shoot Horton Pond? Yeah, because I just looked at Carol's book on all the critters that are there. Find somebody, take a trip someplace. Sometimes photographers like to do it by themselves. Other times they like having a photo buddy. Anyway, and then have fun. That's why we're doing this. At the end of the day, it's not to get rich. It's not to be the next discovered photographer, like Ansel Labs. It's to have fun. So at this point, let me just open it up to Carol Ann and to Ginny to see if you have any suggestions, and then we'll go to the questions, answers, and realizations, or anything you all folks you might have. So Ginny, Carol Ann, I'm going to turn this over to you because I've said all I need to say.
I think you've covered it really well. The only thing we need to keep in mind is when you put photos in the show, you need to pay your admission fee by the 17th because it goes up $10 after that. So, just try and get that part in by the 17th. You've got all the way to the 26th to decide what pictures you want to put in and have them framed. So just take your time and go through all those photos.
Can I ask a question on that? Is the $33, is that per photo or $33 in total?
That's for all three. It's $33 to get into the show, whether you put 1 or 3 in.
And they have to be, we have to turn them in on the 26th.
You'll drop them off at Glen Visual Arts on June 26th.
And it's
Along with the sheet that has the 3 descriptors on it.
Yes,
Time
that's
and
the
day.
only drop off.
Can you have someone drop it off if you're not? available?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
make, in fact, I have Jim's, he's
Oh, okay.
in his home up north, so I have Jim's here, if you need to drop
Just
them
as long
off
as
early,
they're dropped off.
I'm
Okay.
glad to hold him and take him up there for you.
Thank you.
I have a strange question.
Uh-huh.
I was embarrassed to ask. I do not have a digital camera.
Okay, yeah,
Am I allowed to use photos I've taken with my phone?
of course, yes.
I hated to even ask that.
No, that is not a silly question at all. Yes, a photo is, and really, if you talk to a lot of photographers will tell you, it's not the equipment, it's the person standing behind the equipment, so
It's the creativity.
absolutely.
Do you, okay, one other question along those lines. Okay, taking, I have a Moto Z, which is pretty decent pixel quality. So taking it up to 11 by 14 is possible. I've never done that. I think I've taken 5 by 7 maybe, or maybe even 8 by 10, but I've never done 11 by 14.
That's probably a
Is that
good
pushing it?
question to ask somebody at the dark room or at that Paramount printing, or Premier printing.
So where's the printing on Wall Street? What's the name of it again?
Is it Carolina, is that Premier or Paramount Printing in Brunswick?
Premiere.
Premier.
Premier Printing, okay.
They're off of Community Road, right?
Yes, they're on Community Road. Community Road, okay. You know where?
These are the old, this is from a previous year, so, it looks a little different, but this will just show you, you've got your application form that you send in and send it in early. Yeah, price has gone up, but it's still the best deal in town for a photo contest. But there's the labels sheet. So, print out 2 of these and then take one of them and just cut out the individual labels and put an individual label behind on the back of the appropriate framed image, but you're also going to submit one that'll have all 3 on them.
Will we do that when we turn in the?
Yes, there'll be a folder there at Glen Visual Arts on the table. And you would just put that paper in the folder because Glen Visual Arts actually makes the name tags and the price from these. So make sure you have everything filled out correctly because they will be handling that part of it for us.
Did I read that we have to submit a digital version?
That's what I was about to.
Oh.
So if you can send a digital version either to the website Gmail or to me directly, either one.
Okay.
We're gonna make a slideshow and make it really pretty with music. That's gonna go on our website. It's gonna go on the GVA homepage.
Okay.
And we will probably run it on Facebook, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was just concerned about like if I took it on my phone or I can't find the original, I have it or whatever. Like, is it big enough? That was my concern. The pixel. You know,
But
Cause I
send it to me. I
Okay.
can figure it out.
Okay.
If not, I'll just bounce off.
okay. And then you talk about embarrassing question. Where is GVA?
Oh, it's at.
Is it the one?
It's
It's
right by the
106
airport, it's
Island
right by the airport.
Okay.
Island Drive.
We're coming back from Boone, North Carolina the day before, so hopefully I'll be back on the 26th.
And if you wanna drop them off before, I'm on here.
Okay.
And this might, I don't know this either. Is it like first place, second place, third place? Or is
It's
it like,
there's first, second, third, and 2 honorable mentions in each category. There's People's Choice, and this year it's the Duke Smith People's Choice Award. Duke Smith was a longtime, very involved member who passed away last year. So we're making the People's Choice in his honor. And then there's Best of Show. And Carol Ann, is that, so we're gonna have a Best of Show, one Best of Show, or is that gonna be one for aspiring and experienced?
One for aspiring, one for experienced, and there's only one honorable mention per category.
Okay.
First, second, third, honorable mention, and then, yeah, the best of show in each.
Okay, thank you.
And is there any limitation on where the picture's taken? Like, can it be taken in Greece?
Anywhere.
and then on the day of the actual, whenever we're all together, whatever that is, the ceremony, some of us need a babysitter. How long? Or do I need to schedule a babysitter for? I saw that it was at 7 o'clock.
We're doing it at 7.
Okay.
And that's a good question, Carol Ann. How long did it take last year, the virtual, maybe an hour? The virtual?
Yeah, about that.
And is it like a reception or is it like virtual?
Well, we're staying with virtual. But
Okay. Perfect.
long
No
story,
babysitter.
but we're
What
sticking-
date is that?
It's July 15th.
July 15th.
That works better for me.
Okay.
Just have it on, have the kids all over.
That's kids, yeah.
Now, is that when they'll announce the winners?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, Carol Ann, so the judges are actually going to judge, I think I saw a couple of days, they're coming in on the 29th, the day we open. But do we not let anybody know until the award ceremony?
Yeah, it's announced at the award ceremony, because if you have the ribbons hung up when the judges have done it, you know, that kind of takes some of the fizzle out of the big announcement and reveal.
Okay. What she said.
But definitely virtual.
Yes, it's absolutely virtual. We talked about, Glen Visual Arts actually had a reception here, their first one, like a week ago, and we talked, and we're just gonna stick with the game plan. There's going to be on our posters, and it's just the easy thing. Thank you.
So I want to just acknowledge it's 12 o'clock. I'm happy to stay on, you know, a lot longer, but I know some of you may have places to go, people to see, things to do. So I would like to just make sure that any question you have right now, and there are no stupid questions, only stupid answers. So, you know, ask whatever you have. And if not, you know, feel free to contact either Ginny, Carol, and myself, and there are others on the board as well, on the planning committee. You know, we're all more than happy to help with this.
Okay, so we can do the application online. is that it?
Yes.
And then can we mail our check if we don't like to do electronically? I don't like to.
Carol Ann, they can mail their check to you, right?
Yes, I've received several already, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Can you let me know who all's there with you, Jenny?
Yes. In fact, I'll let them tell you themselves.
Hi, I'm Donna Pinter.
I'm Catherine Kissling.
Can you see us, Carol Ann?
Yes.
Hey, Carol, I marked Dennis.
Michaela.
Oh, you're going back this way?
I'm Donna.
Catherine.
Mark Dennis.
Michaela.
Michelle Holton.
Linda Burleson.
Awesome. And everybody's already joined the club, correct?
Yes.
I joined on Memorial Day, so I hope you have my stuff.
Well, welcome. This is an awesome club you've joined.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Does anybody, because Carol Ann's the one with the real nitty gritty facts. Do you have any other detailed questions, Carol Ann? I can, if you, it's on the website, so if you just go in the big photo show and you'll see everything there. If you have any trouble with that, let me know, and I'll just send it to you straight to your inbox.
Okay. All right.
And you can always ask a question on the Facebook page, and one of us will be glad to answer it there, or send us a private message, give us a call. That's what we're here for, is to help you become a better photographer and get a little bit better acquainted with what we do and how we do it. And I'm always available.
I am too. It really is.
I'm not on Facebook, but there are enough others who are, so. So you can just contact me directly if you have something you think.
After the contest, is it an option for like us to ask, okay, we took this photo, critique it for us? Especially in aspiring, we're learning.
I'm hoping the judges will be able to join us at the award ceremony or at a later date, and they can kind of maybe give us what their thoughts were on the. Am I right about that, Jim? The judges will join us at a later date, and
Usually it's just one judge will come at one of the meetings after the contest and let us know why this one got first. And you can ask, well, why didn't mine? And they'll let you know what they were looking for. And it's very informative the way they do that. But typically it's only one judge that will do that for you.
Sure.
Can you get, like, do they have, like, where they rate 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on things?
Carolyn,
I didn't understand the question.
do the individual entries do you get to see how they were marked and judged?
No.
It could be interesting to invite a panel to, if they were all available and were willing to do this, for free, to share their impressions of, being a judge. And, they could comment on the photos, but also just hearing from a judge's perspective, what appealed to them, what didn't move them, etc. So possible future topic for a meeting, I suppose.
If you place, does that bump you out of the amateur category next year? Good question.
Yeah.
I think it does, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so because you're now an award-winning photographer. That's right.
Oh.
Exactly.
So you only be aspiring to be Wednesday.
First, second, third, or honorable mention. Good question. If somebody wins honorable mention, does that bump them into having won in a show?
For the next year?
I think that's kind of a gray area. If they wanted to move up with the honorable mention award, or if they wanted to stay aspiring until they got a little better, I think that should be a personal choice for the honorable mention ribbon.
Oh, that's good.
I guess
Excited.
the other question is, what makes you aspiring versus a professional? Is it you get paid to take pictures?
There was a definition, because I had the same question, and
Okay.
a definition
The
came out, and
definition's on.
I think it had to do with you've won a photography
Right,
accolade in the past.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I take pictures
I've-
all the time, but I never charge or take money.
I've got the definition that you had down right here. Aspiring is any relatively new or occasional photographer who has never received an award or distinction in any photography show or contest.
And can you read the other experience?
Yeah. The experienced is any photographer who has been taking photographs on a periodic or regular basis for at least 2 years and whose work has been previously recognized or received an award in any juried exhibit or contest.
We're getting paid.
And recognized, so yeah.
That we don't have the big photo show police. So, you know, it's really sort of an honor system. Place yourself. Nobody's
That's
gonna.
what I was. I thought that's what I was, Jim. The
Oh,
police.
yeah, I'm sorry. You're the constable. You're the constable.
Okay.
Other questions, folks, or?
I have one question, and you kind of touched on it previously. As far as determining the size of your picture, obviously the pixel count has to do with it. But just from y'all's personal experience, is there a size that you go to? So like obviously Jenny prefers the smaller, and I actually didn't expect for you to submit smaller photos.
Well, actually, I did that, and when I went to the show, I'm like, dang, mine are small. So,
That's our sign.
so they're bigger this year.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Jim said like 11 by 14, probably the smallest he would do, and unless you just needed to because of the quality of the image to go smaller.
Mine are 11 by 14. This is my first time doing it ever, and I had 8 by 10s, and then I was told 8 by 10 might get lost, so then I just bumped it up, and I'm like, we're just gonna go with this for the first year and see what happens. And then it's easier too to find frames that are.
Yes, that was the big thing, was
Yeah.
framing.
Is there, like, I find, if you look at my pictures, they're all portrait, they're all vertical. I'm a vertical photographer. So it really doesn't matter.
Does not matter.
For some reason, I'm always,
Mm,
every
That's,
picture,
that's your.
that's my
your
style.
Yeah.
Well, you know, verticals are what appear on magazine covers. So,
Ew.
Oh, that's a great point.
I have a question too. I don't know if anybody knows this because I can't figure it out. You know when you're like cropping something and it gives you the option for the ratio, and the ratio is 3 by 2 or 4 by 3. Which of those translates better when you blow it?
Just double it. So if it's like,
Okay.
if it's 4 by 5,
4 by 3.
4 by 3, it'd be 10 by 6, or.
So, but like if I wanted to do an 11 by 14. See, I'm trying to decide which one makes it like longer and wider, and I can't figure.
That's a great question.
I cannot figure it out to save my life.
There may be an app that would help with that.
Or like
I
a
do know
conversion.
that, White House Custom Colors, it's the online lab that I use. If I put in a photo, drop a photo in to, I'll pull up prints and I'm gonna get this, so it'll give you a choice, I'm going 5 by 7 or whatever, and I can just keep going down the line. If I drop the print in and if I've said 8 by 8 and it doesn't fit, it just won't fit. And it'll show you what's going to show if I printed it that
Exactly.
size.
I know when Walgreens, when I print mine, if I put it in 11 by 14, I'll get a little exclamation point that says this picture does not meet, it's not gonna be a
It's got
good
quality,
picture.
yeah.
Yeah, and it says you have to go smaller.
Right. Or but like what she's saying, I'll click on it and it'll show you the overhang. And I'm trying to figure out which one doesn't give you the most overhang, like which is more compact, so that you can get the full picture in there.
What program do you use?
Oh gosh, whatever comes with the computer. I'm like real bad at it.
Okay.
Autofill, autocorrect. That's about it. Yeah, I don't, and then, but sometimes I'll crop it. You know, because there's other nonsense over on this side, and I crop it out.
And then you go to print it, it's missing.
Right, and it's like shifted all crazy, so I don't know.
Whoever you use for printing, I'd ask.
A Walgreens.
They might not be able to do it, yeah.
I'll just ask Carol. I'll make her do
There you
that.
go. Yes.
Carol, I need you to work on some math for me.
Walgreens is very picky, and if you don't edit the photo, when you load them up, like in your cart, you always hit the edit button, because like you said, it's gonna show you where it's gonna crop it. And it'll give you the opportunity to move it, because sometimes it'll chop somebody's head off when you want it moved to the left or to the right. So you always have to edit in that very final stage before you hit submit. And on some of mine, I found that it crops pieces I don't want. So like you said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize the picture a little bit before I load it in, and that makes it get all of it. So
I'm gonna just start doing 3x2 and 4x3 and then see which one uploads.
Those are the only choices you have.
There's like an 8x11 and like, there's like the 8x8 or what, the square, or the custom, which really messes things up.
Don't do custom, because you're gonna end up buying a custom brand.
Okay, yeah, no, we like standard even sizes, yeah.
I can come over and, Michaela, I can come over and help you with that if you need any help.
But thank you, I'll bring my computer over to you sometime, because you were asking.
All
me about
right.
my edit too.
That's fine.
Literally.
8x10, 5x7, 3x4, 3x5, 2x3.
That, yeah, yes, yeah, those are the options.
And if
Okay,
you
cool.
have,
Thank you, Carol.
if you don't know where to start and what to pick, pick several, and I'm happy to give you some feedback on photos.
Yes, I actually would like to ask you a question about one of them.
Okay, so along the category, nature landscapes, nature would be like birds and there's an animal in the landscape, obviously. Is that?
Yeah, I don't think nature necessarily has to have an animal, does it, Carol Ann? But you
No,
have-
because last year we had a picture, someone had taken, I think it was like a flower that was laying on a bench or something. And that is not landscape, it's actually nature because you're doing the flower. So it doesn't have to be an animal. It can actually be anything in nature, anything, trees, bushes, or something that's not a landscape, but part of nature. And if you don't feel it's right there, you can always put it into the open category.
An insect?
There you go. I would do nature.
Definitely nature for an insect.
Mhm.
If it's living and breathing, I think it could go in nature unless it's a human. But pets have to go in the other category.
And pets include farm animals that belong.
I assumed, and so I just kind of made that judgment when I entered.
Okay.
And landscapes doesn't have to be a large panorama. It could mean more of an intimate landscape. So, you have some flexibility, but again, the committee, as they're hanging it, they may go, that really should be in this category. And, when you submit your photos, you just realize it says in the rules that, the decisions of the committee and the judges are final. So they may decide that it's better suited for a different category than what you had intended. But you may agree or you may disagree, but it's generally, spot on.
Who is on the committee?
Well, when we were hanging them last year, we actually, and it was members of the guild hanging, of course, we actually did move a couple from one category to another because we felt it was better suited in certain categories. That doesn't happen often, but every now and then you do look at it and you say, well, this isn't nature, this should be here or this should be there. And so it's really left up to the committee that's hanging.
And there are 3 categories. Just gonna go
Guild
say
members.
that. This was good.
Yeah, this is
Really
great.
good.
Great.
This is great.
This was terrific.
Well, now y'all all have to enter.
So if any of you,
I scrambled.
I scrambled for my last one, it was great.
I mean,
I
I
like
haven't even, I have one in mind.
if any of you also would like to become part of the committee, or help out in some way with hanging or, we're a membership committee. So, we love for everybody who might want to be involved to, help out. So many hands make for light work. So. And I think it's great that there are so many of you folks who have even come to show this interest in wanting to play, because that's what it is. It's about playing.
It's really encouraging because, I did attend I watched, it was a couple years ago, I went in and saw the who won and everything. And I would have been way too intimidated to enter as a beginner and with all that expertise, but knowing that there's an aspiring. it's like,
See, that's
oh,
good to
okay.
hear, 'cause we didn't know how many we would have entering aspiring.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That's
that's,
very welcoming, I think.
yeah,
Very
it's
low pressure.
very,
Yeah.
exactly, it takes the pressure, because I mean, when you look at, like, you look at this, you know, oh, I couldn't even do anything near that.
Yeah.
But if, you know, you're all kind of aspiring and learning and, you know, and then you just, it's like, okay,
That's great to hear.
yeah, I mean, 100%.
And
'cause
that's
I mean,
why- yeah, I'm sure Jim's, all of us, we all were where you guys are, and, you know, I got that camera in the mail and said, ooh, you know, and then I had to learn how to, and now I'm still learning how to use it. But people helping you along the way is huge, it really
Yes.
is. The encouragement, the advice, and, you know, oh, what if you looked at it this way, and it's just, you know, getting perspectives from people who've been doing it for a long period of time really helps. So that's what the guild is about. So that's what we're here
Well,
for.
So folks, I think I'm gonna sign off if we're pretty well set.
Thanks,
But
Thank you guys.
Ginny will now serve you all lunch.
I'm signing off as well, so I'm always available. Feel free to give out my phone number, Jenny.
I will, thank you.
Ditto.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye, folks. Good luck. Have fun.
And
I do have another